So before we really roll up our sleeves and look at this simple strategy and this more advanced strategy in more detail, in this video I want to introduce you to two brand new cryptocurrencies. I say they're brand new. You will have seen them around. You've seen them in lots of videos here. I've mentioned them many times as well, but we haven't really stopped and kind of identified exactly what they are. So we're going to do that in this video because, again, it's important that you know this. I want to introduce you to a cryptocurrency called EMP and a cryptocurrency called Eshare. Now, when we earn our passive income at emp.money, we don't get paid in pounds or dollars or euros or whatever your local currency is. We get paid in either eShares or EMP. So it is important that you understand exactly what these two cryptocurrencies are and how we can cash out and actually, take profit. So let's go through all that in this video. So let's look at EMP and eShare. Now, here's the thing. Depending on which strategy, and by now we've talked about, haven't we, that there's going to be two main strategies I'm sharing with you, a simple and a more advanced one. Depending on which strategy we adopt, and you can certainly do both, by the way, this will depend on how you get paid, whether you get paid in EMP or whether you get paid in eShare. So I just want you to know that the strategies, do you remember me saying in week 2 that all these different passive income paths, let's call them emp.money, they've all got different things that we have to do. They pay in different ways, different APRs, there's different systems that we have to do. So they're all different, but similar in the context that they earn a daily passive income. So depending on which strategy you end up using, and you can do both, will depend on whether you get paid in EMP or eShares. They're both cryptocurrencies. As I said, we don't get paid in dollars or pounds or euros or your local currency. We get paid in EMP or eShares. Now, I want to mention something now that's important, and I'm going to come back to it a lot here in week 3. So if you're making notes, please make a note of this. As we move forward, you will learn that ideally, we do not want to sell EMP. EMP is what's known, if you like, as it's known as a governance token. It's kind of the main cryptocurrency that emp.money kind of runs on. It's the fuel, if you like. Ideally, we don't want to sell that. We want to kind of keep that to really help grow the ecosystem. But we can very safely sell eShare. And when it comes to this strategy, just keep that in the back of your mind for now, that ideally we want to sell eShare. More on this as we continue, okay? So let's quickly look at the simple strategy in a tiny bit more detail. Then we're going to go and do it in a few videos' time. The simple strategy, you might remember, involves just getting involved in the farm and nothing else. Now, the farm pays daily, as you know, and it pays in eShare. So that's a cryptocurrency that you get paid out in every single day. You can take profits, if we want to, in this eShare, and then simply swap eShare for dollars or Great British Pounds or your local currency and cash out. I'll show you, of course, how to do all that as we continue. But this is really simple, really easy, and it pays you profit every single day. So that's something you could do, and of course I'll show you how to do this, and you may have even started to do this already. I've seen some people already beginning to do this. Or, this is still part of the simple strategy, we could reinvest the eShare that we get paid every day and put it back into the farm to therefore increase our LP, our liquidity pool, meaning, of course, that we're gradually increasing over time the size of our initial investment, meaning, of course, we'll slowly over time earn more eShare daily as interest, right? So it just kind of repeats and repeats and repeats. That's the simple strategy, kind of in a nutshell. Again, we're going to go and do this because there's still a few more things I want you to understand about it, but we're looking at it from a 64,000-foot overview in this video. The more advanced strategy looks like this. Again, we start in the farm just like we do with a simple strategy, so we still get paid in eShares. Okay? So far, so good. But with the advanced strategy, we then take those eShares and we deposit them into the boardroom. Now, you might remember when we looked at the boardroom in week 2, and again, we're going to obviously come on to this more here in week 3, but the boardroom has a lot higher APR than the farm, and the farm still has a very impressive APR itself, but the boardroom has a lot higher APR. But of course, as you might remember, and well done if you remember this, the boardroom, does it pay out every day? Well, it's written here on the slide, but I'm sure you remember, no, the boardroom does not necessarily pay out every day. I've been in the boardroom, though, where for 3 weeks out of 4 weeks every month, it does pay out, but then there might be a week where it doesn't pay. And even if it doesn't pay, it doesn't mean you're losing anything. It just means you're not getting interest for that particular day. So you still have your deposit, just hasn't earned you any passive income. Whereas the farm does pay every day. And again, we're going to go and do all this, but I just want you to sort of begin to sort of see that there are two strategies that we're going to adopt here. So The boardroom, that pays in EMP. Remember, the farm pays in E-shares. Again, it requires a little bit of focus, doesn't it, to kind of be able to say this and think, okay, let me think about this. So the boardroom pays daily interest in EMP, which, as we know, is a cryptocurrency. And we can then, if we want to, recompound that back into the farm, which would then earn us E-share every day. Remember I said, ideally, we do not want to sell the EMP. So although the boardroom produces EMP every day, ideally, we don't want to sell that. What we want to do is recompound it back into the farm, and the E-share that is generated, that we do sell. Again, I do understand, because when I started learning this, I was like, oh, I sort of get it. And then it's like, oh, hang on, I need to write it down. I need to draw a flow chart. Well, I've already created one for you. We're coming on to that. Again, this is just the overview. We're going to, obviously, you know me by now. We're going to do this quite a few times, and it's a lot of fun. It's not complicated at all. In fact, it's really, really enjoyable. You'll love sort of seeing this engine and how it all works. It's so exciting. So we're going to come on to all this. So the perfect strategy is as follows. If you're making notes, this is a very good thing for you to make a note of. We will cash out our E-share and we will reinvest our EMP. If you do that, you're going to be golden. We will cash out our E-share, loud motorbike going past, and we will reinvest our EMP. Okay? I know I've thrown a little bit of kind of stuff at you in this video, but I know that you're keeping up. But let's begin to wrap up and let's summarize. What did we accomplish in this video? Well, we understood that we earn our passive income at emp.money in either E-shares or EMP. Yeah, we got that, didn't we? They're both cryptocurrencies. We can cash out either and convert it to dollars, but ideally, do you remember me saying many times, ideally we don't want to take profit and pull it out. If everybody did that, there's not going to be a protocol. So we want to work with the protocol. There's a great community. They're called emperors. Isn't that clever play on words? EMP-erers, emperors, that want to fund this and grow this and help the whole DeFi space. So ideally, we don't want to sell EMP itself. Technically, you could. Nobody can stop you. You know, it's yours. But ideally, to kind of have long-term passive income, not a short-term hit, but long-term. Remember I said in the golden rules earlier, you know, we're in this for the long term, 6 months to 2 years, I think at least, if not longer. For long-term, we don't want to sell EMP. Long-term, we really just want to sell our E-shares, which is why this strategy is so important. Most people don't really understand this strategy. They're kind of jumping in, they're quick, they're impatient, trigger happy, but I want you to understand the strategy. So hopefully now you're beginning to think, oh, okay, I can see how I can not only help the ecosystem, help the TVL, yet still safely generate an income for myself, and everybody benefits. It's exciting, isn't it? Are you feeling excited still? Let me know below. I want to know if you're still feeling excited below. So what I also would like you to do now is make a note below in the comments, because again, it really helps if we write this down. Make a note that ideally we will cash out our E-share, but we will reinvest our EMP. If that's your one, you know, I often talk about getting 1% better every day. I've got this, my whole daily log. I've talked about my daily log loads of times. I always have my daily log close to hand. I make loads of notes of learning and stuff about life and everything. And I always ask myself every day, what have I learned today? And maybe this could be the thing that you've learned today. If you can just articulate, when it comes to using emp.money, I take profits out of my E-share, but I will reinvest my EMP. That's a great learning curve, a brilliant learning curve. So let's say it together. You will cash out selling your E-share, reinvest using your EMP. And of course, we're going to, obviously, this is what week 3 is all about, this strategy of actually doing this and understanding it. So I hope you're feeling good. Let me know below. See you in the next video.